Okay, hi. So I'm going to do a little demonstration here of some of the stuff that I'm doing behind the scenes to fix the generated depth map. What you'll see is if you look here, we're looking at a scene towards the end of the film, and I'm just looking at an anaglyph on my screen here so you can see it. And I'll scrub through this a little bit, and the doctor character lights the candle and then takes it over to look at the statue. There's a couple of different shots here that I'll show you. So the first one here, what's interesting to see when you see the depth map is this is what the depth map looks like. And I've switched off these things. So what you'll see is what's bright in the depth map is closer to you and what's dark is further away. So as you see him pick this up, it's quite bright. It's all looking not too bad, a little bit flickery, but can kind of work with that. But as he picks it up, you'll see his hand is still really bright, but the candle actually disappears. So if you were looking at this in the 3D preview, that area there will actually be at the wrong depth. It won't be where it's meant to be. So what we have to do is we have to do a fix. In this instance, there's a number of ways to work with this. In this instance, what I decided to do was actually recreate the candle and then follow the existing candle all the way over, adapting the color as it goes, because obviously as it gets further away from the viewer, that's us, then it needs to get grayer. Also, when it gets over here, one of the things that was quite frustrating was the candle was actually, let me click something else, the candle was the same color as the statue. So when he holds it in front of the statue, what happens is it kind of, in 3D space, it merged into it. So what I had to do is take roughly the measurement of that, and then, as you can see, I lighten it up just to make sure that it stays just this side of the statue. So in order to do this, it's quite an arduous and boring task. I'll zoom in here and you can see what I've done. I'm not going to go through all of it again. I've actually created a mask around it, and in fact, no, I will do this. Let me actually show you what I have to do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a layer that I already have, which is a solid colored layer, and I'll bring in a black solid color. I'll put it here. I'm going to just match where I'm going from, so I will crop it there, and at this side I'm just doing this with my keyboard. I'll crop it to there. So I've created now a black solid. I'll hide that for the time being. I'm also now going to go down and switch off my depth map. And here I can see the candle. And I'm going to start where I'd already done it here. Now what I need to do is I need to look at the candle quite close up. And I have to go in with a tool that cuts a mask. So I'm going to just concentrate on the candle. I'm not sure that you really notice this. It's specifically the candle that stands out. So I'm going to make a mask that goes here. Excuse me, I'll zoom in a bit. We're going to round it a little bit here. Then I'll select from that one. We're going to come up to about here to there. We'll round that one, I think. Take this one. This is a little bit awkward because it's flickering all over the place, so I have to kind of just make it loosely follow the flame and put that one there, move that one up, then there, and from that maybe come down to here, round that off just a little bit. There we go, like that. Yeah, and then this one I'll bring down to here. And then what you can see is I've created a solid mask on this layer. So if I switch that on now, you can see it's actually a black solid mask. Now, what we need to do here is switch back on the depth map. I'm going to go here. On the mask, I'm going to soften the edge. So as you can see, everything's a little bit soft, so we don't want it too hard edged. Then I'm going to actually fill this with a color. So I'm going to go in After Effects, we go generate fill, and I'm going to actually copy the color of the hand. And what you can see therefore is I've made it actually a bit brighter. Now, this is where the real nasty work comes in. We've got this mask and this thing here with the candle cut out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the little stopwatch here to create a keyframe. I'm going to go forward like 5 frames. So as you can see, what I really need to do is get this mask to follow it, which I'll do there. But as you can see, obviously he's moving away from it, so the whole thing needs to kind of scale. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to do this bit by bit. I will adjust manually where these points are. The hope is that over time, or sort of the in-between frames, this will actually automatically create them. It doesn't always work, so oops, we just gotta hope. So I'm being it. With the depth map, it doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but you know, it has to be good. So there we go, and I'll see how that is on that. I'll put that depth map back on. So now you can see it's still the color of his hand. So let's switch that off, and you can see like it would have started fading away there, whereas now it's the color of his hand. Let's zoom into the timeline a bit here and see as I flick through the keyframes. We'll switch this off and this off again, and we'll see how well that mask is actually tracking. Oh, that's not too bad. That's a little bit off. So we're kind of halfway between them there. So let's take that and we'll move it to there. I think we'll probably get away with that one. Okay, so that's there. So again, there's where we are. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for example. Take that, move it, but now as you can see, it's changing angle and it's scaling down, and it's getting narrower there. So you're starting to get a lot of changes happening as it moves. So we'll zoom in again. Let's take a little look here at the individual keyframes. The individual points. Move that to there, that to there, that to there, and you can see flame is really flickering, so we'll bring it into about there. We're quite lucky that we've got nothing in the background behind that, so that kind of gives us a little bit extra leeway. When you've got things in the background, it can get a little bit nastier. Okay, so let's switch that back on and that back on. Now what we need to do is have a little look at that. Now what we've got is that thing, the candle is probably too bright, which would mean it'd be floating in front of his hand. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go into this color setting and set a keyframe there, and we'll maybe jump back to here, and also I'll do it here. We'll set another keyframe. That makes it sure it stays the right color from here. In fact, it might suddenly appear a bit too much there, so we might take that. Let's take that and we'll adjust the transparency over a few frames. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, say there, and we'll come back opacity to 0. So now what we've got is this candle sort of appears in, it doesn't just suddenly become so bright, follows him, and then when we get it around here, as I was saying, we need it to be the same shade as his hand, so I can then take a color measurement of his hand and switch it to that. Now that will automatically adapt to colors in between them. I might want to tweak that because the mask is kind of missing his hand. So I might go up here and take that and just zoom in a little bit again. And take that mask a little bit into here. Again, you kind of get, you get a feel for this. I'll do that, something like that. So there, if I zoom out, we've got the first few keyframes of the candle following him. Now, if I was to show you what the actual one, the final one was, and we'll switch that off, close that. Let me just show you the number of keyframes you can see. So this is for one portion of one shot. I've had to track the camera, so I track the candle the whole way through, trying to adapt the colors and the transparency to get it to actually match the shot. So as you can see, when people say, oh, I'm not keen on auto conversions, there is no way this is an auto conversion. It did that original bit of the depth map, but if you can imagine the number of shots we've had to do this to is just incredible. The other shot I was going to show you just quickly was very similar issue. However, in this case, you can see this candle is almost the same color as his shoulder, especially down here, which means it doesn't really give it very much standout. It's difficult to show you here. I don't know if you can quite see it. Yeah, you can quite see it. Like over here, it's almost like it's part of his shoulder. So we wanted to enhance that and give the candle a bit of a pop. So in this case, it's exactly the same concept. I've created all the keyframes, the same kind of idea of masking the candle and copying the keyframes, and you can see there's quite a lot there trying to get the detail of that flickering candle flame. And in this case though, all I've done is I've used a setting to make it brighter. So I haven't cut a new mask, I've just made a mask that makes it brighter. So it actually maintains, it maintains what it had, but this just makes it a little bit brighter. Which in this case, as you might be able to see if you pop in your glasses now, gives it that pop away from his shoulder. And what you have therefore is better, I would say a better 3D composition. So that's the kind of stuff that we're doing. I hope that's kind of explained a bit more detail for you. And if I had to tell you how many shots in this film I've corrected, it would be an absolute nightmare. It would take you 160 hours to follow all the shots if I fixed them in real time. Anyway, enough of that. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoy this Blu-ray, and I hope you will support us in future. Thank you again. It's me, Andrew Murchie. Bye now.